Hey all, Scott here from Art of the Genre, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Star Frontier's Zebulon's Guide. It is this particular piece of lore from TSR 1985, and I'm just going to go over a little bit of it today as an introduction. It's for the system Star Frontiers, but a lot of people would argue that it's not because it was I guess you would consider it the second edition of Star Frontiers Alpha Dawn. It was created in 1985 and it was piggybacked on something that was very, I don't know, the word of the day, the system of the day in 1985 in TSR. And that was this little piece right here. It was based on something called the action resolution system, where it takes a percentile system and then it gives you a series of successes, if you can see that, on what the system is, and you roll everything on percentile dice. Now, Alpha Dawn was already a percentile-based system, so that would seem to be a system the action resolution table would come in and be very easy to translate into the same system because they're both based on percentiles and only using D10s. This is something that you also saw in the other systems that were converted over to it, or at least the system. That would be the third edition of Gamma World, you can see here. And then after Gamma World, they were both were kind of the pre-gens of the Marvel Superheroes system, which you can see here. A lot of people say that those systems do not equate for the superhero system that it was based on in Marvel. It doesn't equate really directly into Gamma World or Star Frontiers. I can see an argument in that. I'm not going to go against it, but I think that there was a lot of really heavy pushback in the 80s and even today against the action resolution system because it was a change that was probably not necessary when you're using a base percentile system. My counter to that is, in the 80s, I could see that there's no other company out there that has the money, time, energy, or designers that TSR did. So when they come up with something, designing it at the cutting edge, which is the action resolution system in 1985, 1984, 1985, I think that you're talking about a very, very well-designed system. And that's something that I always believed when I looked at it, that if you put faith in it, it will make sense. A lot of people saw that system and just said, look, when I have a base dice, I need a 63 because I've got a 63 in the stat to hit. I roll my 63 or less, I hit, and then I roll my damage, which might be 3d10 or 4d10, and I roll it. That's great, that works. Then they say, why do I need to take an extra step to do this action resolution system, which bases everything on column shifts in these columns to see then, if I've got a column shift, let's say, for example here, 5, I've got a 58% chance to hit, and then that's broken down into 4 levels of how much damage that hit will do. 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%. Why do I need to take that extra step? It's stupid. I hate it. I don't want it. I'm just going to roll my 63% and then roll my damage and I'm good. Great. Totally understand. That is obviously a preference. It's going from system to system. But I don't think that the action resolution system is bad. It's just different from what people saw in Alpha Dawn. And once you've mastered the action resolution system, it allows for the game to not only expand through heavy skill use and the column shift, but it also makes the game very, very quick if you have the ability to understand damage and how those damages are broken up into that 25, 50, 75, or 100. If those things are pre-genned, and you already know what a laser is going to do, you don't have to spend the extra step to roll those 5d10 or whatever it is and then calculate those damages because you already know what a yellow hit on the action resolution table for a laser rifle is going to do. Did you hit? Yes, I got a yellow result, which you provide those to the tables. Therefore, I did 25 points of damage. Bang. Done. You go to the next thing. So if you like to roll those extra dice or do those extra things, I get it. But the action resolution system does work in Star Frontiers. And I think it's a great system to use within it, especially if you take the time to understand what it means and how it makes the system flow and how everything comes off of this action resolution system and this color system for successes and failures. Speaking of failure, the biggest failure for Zebulon's guide is that it was rushed to press. It is not really a complete revamped system. And although the system isn't broken, it's really just a framework with a lot of bells and whistles thrown in for equipment or new races and timelines and stuff that were added to Star Frontiers. Things that players took from Zebulon's, brought into their Alpha Dawn system, and then left the action resolution table behind. Again, I get it. If you don't like the action resolution table, that's fine. Now, one of the things that people would probably talk to me about is, if this is a broken system or most people liked Alpha Dawn, why are you talking about Zebulons? Well, I love Zebulons. Although I had the box sets for Nighthawks and Alpha Dawn, it wasn't something that I actively played until I got Zebulon's Guide. So it was kind of my introduction, and I didn't have the negative effect of what Alpha Dawn meant versus Zebulon. So I was always used to the action resolution system. Plus, I played Marvel superheroes, so it was easy for me to translate. But now people would say, why are you even talking about it today? And the reason that I'm talking about it today is because it promised us something. And it promised every single person that ever played Star Frontiers something. And that's because in this, under Zebulon's Guide, it says Volume 1. There are promises also in here. We're going to give you power armor, which is on the front. We're going to give you other things that are going to expand this great new system that we brought to you in 1985. And of course, it was canceled. You never got anything for it. Gamma World 3rd edition at least got a box set, although it's fairly basic too. And then it got 6 other modules with it, which this got no modules. So Star Frontiers was dropped very quickly after this. So, you know, it's a dead system, and Star Frontiers in general is a dead system. There are a lot of science fiction games out there. Many of them have not weathered the years, but you've got to understand that, strictly speaking, in Star Frontiers, nothing has been produced for this game by either TSR or its new partnering owner, Wizards of the Coast, once it took it over, since 1985. Great. Some people could argue that D&D, the 3.0 system had the Future supplement for D20 Modern, which did have some Star Frontiers stuff in it, but it wasn't directly a Star Frontiers supplement. The IP is heavily guarded by Wizards of the Coast, and therefore nothing can be brought out for it except for fan work. Now, speaking of fan work, most fans go to Alpha Dawn. I get it again. If you go to the sites like on Facebook, Star Frontiers Alive and Well is a great site. There are 3,000 people on it, or at least members of it. They don't, obviously, you don't get 3,000 comments on something, but you might get 50 or 60, which means people are active on that site. And what you're going to see is that, you know, there is a fan base, most of them built directly off of Alpha Dawn. And again, people would say, why are you bringing up Zebulons if Alpha Dawn's really the only thing out there left, even from that smaller fan base? And I would argue that you're basically arguing, why would someone learn to speak Latin versus Mesopotamian? They're both dead. I just happen to like Mesopotamian more than Latin. So that's why I'm talking to you about this, and the fact that I've taken a lot of years and a lot of contacts in the art industry to try to bring forth something that I've wanted since 1985, and that is a Zebulon's Guide Volume 2. That is why I'm talking about Zebulon's Guide, because the things that I do within Zebulon's Guide Volume 2 are the things that I believe were promised to us when this volume came out. So I will continue to go through various talks on Star Frontiers, Zebulon's Guide Volume 2, in the way that I've set it up, and also some things that I would like to talk to you about concerning successful science fiction gaming, which I think is exceptionally hard, especially considering the fact that we have such a great renaissance of just role-playing or tabletop gaming. There are a lot of you know, science fiction games out there, but my question then proposes, most people or most groups don't have a long-standing campaign that lasts years of Star Frontiers or even any science fiction game. They're mainly adventure-based, one-shots, or things we took a look at a game, we liked it, we played it for a few times, and then we went back to what? Dungeons and Dragons, be it AD&D or any of the editions up to 5th edition, which is now the driving force of the industry, and why that is, and how you might be able to help your game or your table keep interest in a science fiction game like Star Frontiers and continually moving it forward. And again, I'm not trying to insult anybody or say, hey, there's no games of Star Frontiers going on in the world right now. I'm sure that there are, but I would contend that there are probably less than 50 active game masters running campaigns in Star Frontiers anywhere in the world right now. And if you're less than 50 in a world of what, 7 billion people, and probably out of that, if they even had 10 players each, that's 500 players, active players of Star Frontiers. It's not a big deal. That is a dead system, as much as those people ardently still love it or talk about it. Maybe my numbers are wrong, but from what I've seen, that's not the case. Even on Facebook's Star Frontiers Alive and Well, you'll post something and someone will say, I played that game. I played that module back in '85. But people aren't playing it today. They'll still talk about it. They still like it. They have nostalgia for it, but it's not actively being played. And I think utilizing the Zebulon's Guide system of the action resolution system, you can bring it into today's world, and kids won't think this is just too damn old, which sometimes you get when, and I've seen comments like that, like, this game is old, let's play Starfinder, Dad. No, don't play Starfinder. Play Star Frontiers and play the Zebulon's Guide Edition, and I'll be telling you how to play the Zebulon's Guide Edition to the most effective, possibility in the upcoming videos in this series, and also giving you various adventure threads, and hopefully be able to bring you a lot of cool stuff for just Star Frontiers in general if you like the game, that you could obviously use in your Alpha Dawn setting. But mine is going to be specifically geared towards Zebulon's Guide and Zebulon's Guide Volume 2. Which I'll be, just doing for myself because it can't really be released, but it is something that I enjoy doing, and I'm going to have it on this shelf before I die, hopefully, unless the pandemic gets me or something. But anyway, that's all I've got to say about this today. Hopefully you'll come back for this series and maybe engage me here a little bit in how you play Alpha Dawn, or if you play Zebulon's Guide, which I doubt. But if you do, that's great. We can talk about it here, and let me know if you have anything specific that you'd like me to talk about concerning Zebulon's or Alpha Dawn, and I'll try to get those in as well, because I've obviously done some reviews of some of the Star Frontiers adventures you can see up behind me. You can find those on this YouTube channel too. Anyway, as always, this is Art of the Genre, and as I like to say, great gaming.